Negan escapes. Because apparently Judith is the only person living in Alexandria. And The Walking Dead hires Scooby Doo villains to play the Whispers.
Zoinks! It's Mr. Carswell, the bank president.
It's not quite that bad, but almost. It's the mid-season premiere of The Walking Dead. Season 9, Episode 9. Adaptation. Hey everyone, D here, and welcome to this week's review of The Walking Dead. So yes, plenty of spoilers from this point on. Alright, so we are back, the big mid-season premiere, and I gotta say it was better than I thought it was gonna be. Seeing some of the previews, I was a little nervous. If you saw my spring preview, I did sort of dive in briefly how the scenes weren't grabbing me. I was very concerned coming into this episode to how everything is going to look. And for the most part, I have to say, pleasantly surprised. Enjoyed this episode. A little bit of wagon training, but it's an extended episode, so that tends to happen. They're trying to do a little bit too much scene setting and too much character movements. And I mean, I like the character stuff, but sometimes they're trying to hit too many beats and all in one episode, and maybe not everything was really needed. But for the most part, I enjoyed the episode. I thought that it did well. Now, I am going to talk a little bit about the Michonne news, if you guys have picked that up. It's been in a couple of days. I'm going to hit that at the end of the episode, but I want to jump into the episode proper right now. Starting things off with, well, I guess the main thrust, the Whispers. That's really what we are seeing, what we are being exposed to with this premiere. We got the hints of it, then we've got the big Jesus death at the end of the last episode, at the mid-season finale. And I liked how they sort of picked things up immediately here. I was actually glad they re-showed the episode beforehand, because for some reason I had thought that it was all settled, but no, they did stop it right in the middle of the cemetery. And like I had said with the last review, I enjoyed the cemetery bit. I thought that was creepy. The fog, you can't see that much. You've got the Whispers mixed in with the walkers themselves, and I thought that worked great. So even starting to pick things up at that moment, it kind of kept that creep factor. You know, nobody knows what's going on. You got the dead guy, you got the walker mask laying right there. You're just hearing the Whispers. We got him, trap him, get him. I mean, that is great. That's very cool. Again, it's edgy. But the rest of the episode seemed to have lost after that. And I think part of the problem is the Whispers really work in a group. And I mean, like, in a giant group of walkers with a handful of Whispers mixed in to surprise you. I mean, again, that was the great thing with Jesus, with that reveal, is he's going to kill a walker and suddenly it ducks and jabs and stabs him. It's unexpected. It's an internal ambush type kind of idea. And I think that's when the Whispers work. By themselves or in smaller numbers, not as effective, and they don't look as good. I gotta say, one of the coolest moments with the Whispers was right at the end of that opening bit, after they lock the gates to the cemetery and our group sort of heads off, and you got all the walkers pushing up against the gate, and it just pans down and you just see this hand slowly come out and undo the lock. I mean, that's cool. It's small, it's subtle, it's very effective. Again, smaller numbers, easily visible, not quite as scary. And that's sort of where that whole bridge scene sort of popped up. This should have been the scene of the week. This should have been the moment. But it felt odd. I mean, it started off okay. And we see the couple of walkers that are moving through the bridge, and the fact that, you know, Michonne and Daryl and everybody, they saw that they were being followed. Dog, awesome, doing your job. And they sort of set up this ambush. That's cool. And I like Daryl, I mean, immediately, we're learning quick. That's what I like about this group. They're not going for headshots. They want to find out what's going on. Shoot in the leg. First walker doesn't do anything. Shoot the next one. Ah! Then all the walkers sort of piling onto him. That was awesome. But that was it for walkers, and the rest were whispers. So it seemed, I mean, it was like a 1-to-1 ratio there. It looked like one walker per one whisper. And so once the walkers kind of got exposed, the whole point of the whispers, they're done. What, with the knife going up against Michonne? Come on! And then Lydia surrendering immediately. Again, she has that panic moment. Now, we are setting in this episode the story, and I'm putting those in definite quotes, of Lydia as being this frightened, frail individual. And I don't buy that at all. I don't buy a single word that she had said through any of the interrogations or any of the discussions or any of that stuff. And yet, when faced in these numbers, what else is she going to do? Try and attack or surrender and hope that our group are actually compassionate? And considering the minimal exposure that they've had to the group, that seemed kind of a leap. And then again, when Daryl looks and we get the close-up of the face and pulls off the mask, I swear, man, all I'm thinking is Scooby Doo villain. Just reached out, Susan Dinwiddie. No, I mean, it's just, that's exactly what I am thinking when I see this. So the terror, the shock, anything that might have been revealed in that moment just got completely undercut because the masks looked like rubber masks. It looked like they just pulled a rubber mask off of her, and she seemed a little too clean and organized. I mean, yeah, dirty face and stuff, but not looking like somebody who's been walking around and living with walkers. So, like I said, that should have been the scene of the week. But it was undercut too much by too many things that seemed out of place. And yes, right behind them, there's this whole army of walkers that are following up. But that's how it should have been. If it was mostly walkers and there was only one, maybe two whispers within a much larger group, it's easier to hide. It's easier to ambush. It's easier to surprise. We run the same thing at the end when Alpha is revealed. I mean, we don't give the name, but that's who's going to be underneath the shotgun there. And that was, again, set up as kind of a cool scene when we have Luke and Alden walking in, and they've been following the trail of arrows and so on, and they see the one walker who's, oh, I'll get it. And then the walker stops. It just stares at him. That was cool. That was a nice shock for Luke. You could see it was like, wait a minute, that's not right. And then suddenly they're surrounded and they've got people around. It's like, oh my God. You know, that's fine. But then when you have Alpha come up and just throw the arrow down and do the hello, it's just, suddenly it loses the fear. It loses the intensity at that moment. So I know it's difficult. I know that I understand there's challenges with really pulling this off properly, but the way that everything looks, just it doesn't grab. I'm not as scared as I think that I am. I'm not scared of the Whisperers. In a giant group of walkers, having one or two using ambush tactics, that works great. But just walking up and throwing the arrow down, that's the end of the line for you. I'm not scared. Wait for Luke to come in and do an attack and then grab his arm and punch him in the face and then stare down at him. That would be impressive. This, not so much. Oh, and yeah, the Lydia interrogation scenes, yeah, I don't buy anything off of her. I mean, I'm just going to say, and I know that this is sort of a ploy, and I believe that that's played out. I like the fact that Daryl lost it and went in on her, you know, because I'm expecting this is sort of going to be interrogation, almost a torture. Someone's going to stab at a leg, there's going to be punches, there's going to be blood, there's going to be roughing up. But no, I mean, I understand you got to be the heroes, you got to be the nice guys, you can't have Daryl punching Lydia. You could have Michonne or Tara punching her, then that would sort of work. But yeah, again, I like that Daryl kind of pushes her, yells at Henry, who's trying to be, oh, it's just a girl, you leave her alone. And then he comes up and just sits at the window and listens to the exchange. He's smart on Daryl's point. I have to agree with Michonne. He's a great judge, best judge of character. And he will be stepping into more of a leadership position. You can see he's already making those moves. He's already taking that mantle onto him. So I think that's what we're going to see with Daryl moving forward. But I did like the fact that he pushed her to get information and then left Henry down there. I mean, one, got to put Henry in his place. I love that. Your place is down here until you learn where your place is, learn how to listen. I mean, that was kind of cool. But then going back up and listening to the exchange. Now he's got a name, and now he's going to hear a little side and the little smile on Lydia's face about, thank you, Henry. Yeah, that's not good. She's a liar. All right, now one of my favorite parts of this episode was pretty much everything with Negan in it. Which is surprising, because of course he's the bad guy, and you're making me like Negan. Why are you making me like Negan? It's like Jamie Lannister. Don't make me like Jamie Lannister. No, don't make me like Negan. But I do. I mean, Jeffrey Dean Morgan is amazing. He's got a great charisma. And really, I think his little journey here of kind of self-discovery, I think, was one of the most interesting aspects of this episode. Because, yes, he gets out, and it's really interesting because he's not rushing to escape. He's just kind of checking the world out. You know, has a little bit of fruit, kind of walks around. I mean, why he goes up to Rick and Michonne and Judith's place, not totally sure. I mean, they don't get that he was out for revenge. I think he knew that Rick was gone. You know, obviously, well, Rick's been gone for ages now. But there's nobody else around. And I think he understands the people that left. So I don't really know what he was going up there for. It didn't really seem like some sort of revenge bit, even though he had the shovel. He's used to having something around with him. There's no bat. He's got to have something. But yeah, even all that, as he's leaving to climb the wall, it's like he's just wandering through Alexandria, just get some clothes, get my thing, get ready to head up until finally Judith shows up. It's like, finally. There's no guards. There's nobody up in the morning doing crops and stuff like that. Isn't that where farming tends to start out? I mean, it really surprised me. There was nobody in Alexandria. Everybody's gone. Except for little Judith. And that was kind of a great scene between the two of them. Well, it wasn't. I don't think Judith quite has the presence yet to kind of even out those sides. I mean, Negan is playing great off of her. But all I'm thinking as I see both of those scenes, but especially the first one, was this is supposed to be Carl. This is supposed to be a young Carl facing off with Negan. But of course, Carl's dead, and many years have gone by, and that's why we have little Judith kind of playing that role now. But again, we don't have the connection with Carl at this point through the story. We've had years. We have all sorts of adventures. We have this understanding of him. We have this connection with his characters. So see the two of them going off of each other. There's depth, there's interplay, there's interest. With Judith, I mean, we've just been introduced with her. So I don't think she's holding the scene quite as much. She's doing a great job for a young actor. But all I was thinking during that scene was, this should be Carl doing it. And you shouldn't have me thinking that as an audience member. But yeah, and then Negan up and leaving. Again, that discussion, I'm going, I don't want to fight, I'm making this promise. And that does seem to be Negan's story throughout all of this, which again, I thought was really interesting. Great moment, actually, when he's eating and the walkers came up and he's having his bit of fruit. In fact, I'm going to do this. Look, I'm going to classify this with anything with Negan, but I'm going to shoot this out because it's the one that didn't piss me off, and it's the greatest, cleanest scene of the week that I could say. And that is the walker, the burnt walker coming out of the back of the truck. That was one of the coolest walkers that we've seen for a while. Simple, but just sort of raising its head up, and then reaching out and grabbing Negan and getting pulled out and then falling on his food bag and just getting some walker guts all over him. So now it's food and water. He can't touch it. It's like the kick in the gut for Negan as he's wandering out and seeing all of these things. That the life is just, it's not what he's expecting it which is what this whole sequence is about. Drinking the water at the stream, don't just drink that, that's where Giardia and stuff comes in, which is, I think, what gets them sick. But I gotta know, you guys let me know, where he stops. Didn't that look like where Glenn and Abraham were killed? That sequence through, because he kind of walks up, he throws up, and then he takes a moment staring out over this scene, and it looks very much like that spot. Like he's, again, kind of traveling through time, re-experience these moments in the journey, and not having a good feeling about it. The look on his face was not appreciative or reflective or anything. It was almost more of a horror moment. And you can always think for a moment maybe that's why he threw up, but I think it was the water. You don't just drink water like that, man. It's not good for you. And then returning to the sanctuary and seeing it just all messed up. Just destroyed. He tries a little whistle thing. Thank you, I can get that word out. And then just, again, seeing everything just decayed and Big Richie there. And the rest of it was just, it's just sort of great moments. Again, this is another perfect little, again, this, I can't say it's scene of the week because it's a sequence. So, I mean, I had to pick one. But him, you know, like sitting down at the table, the conference table, nobody else is there. He's got to make his own little room full of stuff, and he's sitting down, and it just doesn't feel right. The hidden motorcycle, interesting. Hid that behind a wall so nobody could get to. It's been 6 years. Gases still hasn't separated. That still works. We'll go with it. It's a show. Fine. But just that whole moment, I appreciated that with Negan, is really, again, it's that journey of, can we go back to the way things were? And no, you can't. Things have changed. So then when he comes back, following Judith's compass right there to help find your way, you know, the fact that he is going back to Alexandria, I like. I want Negan with the group and finding a way through that. The fact that Judith finds him and shoots him on the road and drops him down, I was wondering if that was almost a dream sequence for a moment, because that seemed like out of it. And again, only person in Alexandria. But again, they didn't like that. That was cheesy. But the fact that he is coming back to Alexandria and going back willingly with Judith, he's creating a bit more of a connection with her. And I think that whole line will probably start to hack away at maybe Michonne's convictions of keeping Negan in the cell. Especially, well, with the Whisperers on their way. Oh, and before I forget, the shopping excursion, Negan shopping excursion, I don't buy that anything was left in the store. And the fact that he could find another leather jacket that looked very similar to his, in his size, he's a big guy, just on the shelves, again, that's just, you're trying to get Negan back into Negan mode, but I don't really buy that pathway. I did like the crank flashlight. There's a useful tool. Don't need batteries. Crank it, holds a charge, use that flashlight. Perfect post-apocalyptic item there. On the other hand, the dogs coming after him, I mean, that was scary. They should have caught him. He shouldn't have been able to run quite so far. But also, mainly, dogs. You don't hide from dogs. Dogs don't use their eyes as much. They use their nose. They're going to smell him up there. They're just going to sit there and bark until he gets down. They're not going to go wander away. Where are they wandering off to? Just, that annoyed me. Everything else with Negan was good, though. All right, just a couple of small other things. One, Alden is going to impale himself. I like Luke and Alden together and going out. Luke's whole bit of wanting to volunteer and be part of things. That was awesome. That was cool. Again, great character stuff. And I like the dialogue about music and the two of them as they're riding along looking for people. But did you notice Alden's spear? Set there with a point up right there by his stomach. If he's moving at all speed and that horse suddenly stops, he's going to tilt forward and impale himself. That is not how you carry a spear on a horse. just know. It's like death right there. Also, why throw the spear when you can run up and stab with them? If you miss, then you have to go chase your spear down. Well, he's probably a good throw at this point, but still. Come on. And, of course, Negan wasn't the only one throwing up in this episode. Rosita was, too, right after Eugene tries to express his love for her. And no, it's not a physical response to Eugene's almost proclamation of love. I thought that was cute. I thought that was right with Eugene, you know. When it gets near the end, you just want to focus on what's important. The fact that he was afraid of that Rosita was going to die, and while he was there, I mean, it was all emotional. It was nice. It was a great little Eugene scene. But Rosita didn't run away because she didn't want to hear from Eugene. Well, at least I don't think it's just that. But morning sickness. Yeah, because she's pregnant with Sadiq's kid. Because she was with Sadiq before she was over with Father Gabriel. And now Eugene wants her. It's just... I'm not making a judgment call here. I'm just saying that this seems to be an overly complicated relationship setup. Hey, I was just with Sadiq recently, but then I went over to Gabriel, and now Eugene's going... Just stop. And I am not saying that this is indicative of even a short-term hookup there, but there was an interesting line between Michonne and Daryl when they were walking on the road post cemetery there, bringing back Jesus' body. It was kind of cute how Daryl was saying, "I'm sorry I couldn't do that for you," i.e. go find Rick's body and bring that back home for you. Or for Michonne being able to do it for everyone. Again, cute, nice moment. But Michonne's had an interesting line there. She said, "Thank you for that," of course, for trying to do it, "and for after." Now, I'm not saying that the two of them did some post-Rick hookup, let's drown our sorrows together type kind of thing, but it sort of felt a little like that, and it had me asking that question. That's all I'm saying. I am curious what that referred to. And for after. What after? How did Luke not see the walker right at his foot? And he pulled the arrow out, and the one comes around that Alden ends up spearing. He goes to kill, and the walker grabs his feet. How does he not see the walker right there? They were away. He walked up to the tree. Should have seen that there was a walker right down there. Again, doesn't really sneak up on you when it's crawling like that. So, cool moments that are undercut by a lot of, huh? Alright, and Danai Gurira is leaving The Walking Dead also. It was reported the other day by a Hollywood Reporter, dropped by many other news sites since then. Yes, so the show has been renewed for season 10 for next season. However, Danai Gurira will only be in a handful of those episodes, and then she will be leaving. The expectation is she's going to leave and also start doing some Walking Dead movies. That's what they've implied. Does not necessarily mean that she is going to be going to the movies with Rick. Understand that Scott Gimple, they want to expand the Walking Dead universe. They've already got Fear the Walking Dead. They're going to be doing some Rick Grimes movies. The idea seems to be here that they're going to be doing multiple different movies, maybe expanding the world. And I am kind of curious actually how that's going to work out, because she's watching Judith and then the little one, the little Rick Michonne's son. So does she take them with her? Does she get killed, seemingly killed and disappeared like Rick did? That would seem to be a little repetitive, so not really sure how they're going to pull that off. But yes, we are losing another old cast member. We're going to be down to, well, we're already down to the only original cast members left, Carol and Daryl. Kind of a hookup. And after that's going to be Tara, so how much longer is she going to last? So, yeah, kind of a bummer. Really wondering if people are seeing the writing on the wall. Also found it funny that ABC was putting Whiskey Cavalier, Lauren Cohan's new show, advertisements during Walking Dead. Wondering where Maggie is? She's on ABC! That kind of A little stab right there to AMC. Just a little bit. All right, well, I think that's just going to wrap things up for now. So, yeah, overall, good episode. Few little whole points, but hopefully things are going to be kicking up. We'll get some interesting stories. I hope to have a little bit more fear of the whispers and not just keep thinking,
let's see who our witch really is.
Zoinks! It's Aggie Wilkins!
But I probably will. We'll just have to sort of wait and see. And really curious how Negan is going to start establishing himself. Is he really going to be joining the sides of the group of Alexandria? Is he going to be part of the community? Or is he going to do something a little different? The comics have an interesting storyline. They can't really follow that because of character movements and deaths and decisions, but I'm curious how much they're going to try and sort of meld things. So anyway, lots of potentiality. Can't wait to see what comes up. And we got 7 more episodes in the season to find out. So, looking forward to that. But that is going to wrap us up for now. Thank you so much for joining me. And as always, if you enjoyed this review, please share it with your friends and hit that like button. Thoughts, ideas, and comments, toss them down in the section below. What do you guys think? What was your favorite scene of this episode? And were you thinking Scooby Doo villains as well? Maybe you guys were awesome. Maybe you guys loved the whole sequence. Please share. Let me know what you guys are thinking. And you can always catch me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at Darren Jakes. You can hit this button to subscribe, catch all these reviews, and we'll throw up a couple of our latest right here that you can check out. So, that's going to be it for me. I'm D, and I'm out of here. Catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.